looking forward to the digital age in Newry and how to empower people to change their lives for the better. That's coming very shortly. But for now, on a weekly basis, changing people's knowledge for the better, the Newry Democrat. Brian Hyland is with me. How are you?
Good morning, Ron. Not too bad. Yourself?
You're
looking well, as usual.
Well, one has to. It's called disguise as one grows older. It's camouflage.
Is it the beard? Is it the beard thing?
Absolutely. Yeah? So many people have been saying to me, when are you getting rid of the beard? It makes you look dreadfully old. I am old, and I've no problem with it, you know.
Well, that's good that you don't have a problem with it, you know, and you're moving on. But you do look much younger without it, I must say.
Who wants to be younger?
But you're still attractive.
Well, you want, Brian, I didn't realise. But do you want me to tell you about my youth? It wasn't pleasant. I was fist fighting all the way, toe to toe, with the most awful stories imaginable. All of the hunger strike deaths, Bloody Friday. You know,
so it's had an impact on the...
Just wears you down. So I now have the great freedom of not having to worry even remotely about bad news.
Good stuff, yeah.
But you're not, you don't have that facility. You're still at the coalface.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? We find ourselves in the office sometimes when something bad does happen in Newry more, you're almost glad of it because it makes for column inches.
What have you got today for us in the paper? The Newry Democrat Day.
Well, speaking of bad news, Kingsmill is one of the worst atrocities to visit this area. The family have never got full disclosure in terms of people being prosecuted over it. Everyone's familiar with the background of it. And not only have the families come up against a brick wall and trying to find information and prosecute those responsible, now this weekend, once again, the memorial where it happened has been targeted, and I just wonder what goes in through the minds of these people that seek to do this here.
It's crazy stuff, because you had Kingsmills, you had the Reevy brothers. Here we had a situation of Protestants being targeted because they were Protestants, Catholics being targeted because they were Catholics, and you know, the thought comes to mind, the adage comes to mind, an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind.
Yeah,
it's a disgraceful story, and I wish to God they would leave the Kingsmills Memorial alone.
Absolutely, and obviously they happened within 24 hours. Well, now the Kingsmill and the Reevies.
Absolutely.
And both sets of families
heartbroken.
Yeah, but there's never got disclosure on it, and people have never been pulled on it and prosecuted for it, which is even more devastating. But yeah, it happened both sides of the so-called both sides of the community, and just thankfully we've come on and hopefully we'll never revisit that sort of area.
Where are you taking me now?
Well, I was just going to stay in the front because I think there's a nice wee story. Everyone's familiar with Collie Bell and his wife Ethna.
Of course.
Obviously, tragedy visited this family as well a number of years ago when Kevin was knocked down in America. But the family have been absolutely fantastic in starting, and I'm sure you've covered it over the last years. The Kevin Bell Repatriation Trust. So they've been rewarded for their endeavour by the GAN. We're down in Croke Park last week for an honour. What was it? Raising awareness of the work of the trust, and that's brilliant. I always think if you did lose a child, a lot of people would just sink down and let life go by, but they've remained positive and they've
done their best. Something good has come out of it.
Well, they know how it's affected their family, and have tried to help other families that have had similar circumstances.
Okay, Brian.
You know. Wee story last week. I think it's going to be confirmed on Thursday now that All Ireland winners Justin McNulty is going to go head to head with Mickey Brady for the MP seat in May.
Head to head. Yeah.
It's interesting, so it is. I think it's what the SDLP need in terms of...
Yeah, but Brady has a huge provenance because he has come from the social welfare background of advising people.
Mickey, yes, yeah.
Mickey has done that.
They're coming from different backgrounds.
So this will be a clash of the titans.
Well, yeah, maybe you could put it that there. Mickey's a lot more experienced, but I think one of the so-called faults that people say about the SDLP is that it's an old party.
Yeah.
They're getting Justin McNulty in, it's new, fresh blood. He's well known because he's one of the few in Armagh that have won an All-Ireland medal. So that'd be interesting, yeah. Southdown arrest over theft. Just thought this was interesting. A number of people were arrested in the Kilkeel area there over the weekend. Were stealing trees.
Steal trees? Why would they be stealing trees? It's not Christmas.
I don't. But they were caught with 2 trees in the trailer. They stole trees from property. And just
what we got here then? What are you doing with the trees?
There's some jokes there. We had a couple of jokes in the office about that yesterday. You know, will Special Branch be investigating?
Yes, that sounds like a Cormac Campbell pun.
And then another wee story, and sometimes, as we mentioned at the start of the programme, it's nice to have good news stories in the paper, which we don't have too often. And this wee girl from Newry, Jessica Kimmins, is a big
Yes.
fan of Taylor Swift. Like, Taylor Swift is an absolute phenomenon in terms of the pop world.
Is it a woman or a man, Taylor
It's
Swift?
a woman. There's a picture of her there. She's
know.
a very good looking
Is that her
woman.
picture?
It is.
Okay, so that was young Kimmins.
But she's there's young Kimmins here.
Yeah, yes.
But she's a global superstar, so she's worth almost $200 million. You'd be familiar because she's from your part of the world. No.
No, not in
But
America.
anyway, Jessica from Uri started a wee blog about Taylor Swift and got
Wonderful.
2,500 followers.
Wonderful.
Taylor Swift picked up upon it and decided to send her a box full of goodies. Now, this is thousands of pounds worth of stuff, designer gear, personalised messages,
From
papers and that
Taylor
there.
to the Newry
From
girl.
Taylor. So, yeah,
There you are.
delighted with that there.
Bill denied there on page 5, denied in the dissident case.
This is the ongoing case
Yeah, absolutely.
over the last number of months. Probably not going to go away for a while.
No, it'll be there for a while.
And with narrow water mentioned again there.
Yeah, but that's a nonsense. You know, I don't see it because I'm not saying the papers. I'm saying the story is a nonsense because there is very little optimism. In order for narrow water to happen, Brian, we need a new set of circumstances.
Yep.
We're still rehearsing the old circumstances, the old arguments, and all the politicians are saying the right thing. This iconic project must go ahead. Well, make it go ahead, and you don't do it by just wishing it to happen.
Well, I'm of the opinion too that it's dead in the water. And maybe like yourself,
Yeah.
they need a new route.
A new route to go,
To
absolutely.
go.
Right. Can you bring me to... Oh, isn't that a lovely feature?
There's a wee
Double page
feature.
there.
This is a wee group just around the corner, so it is Positive Futures. They're a charity, so they are, and they're all about helping adults with learning disabilities become independent and live a fulfilling life.
Okay.
Our own health trust do plenty of great work for young people with learning disabilities, but once they hit 18, they're pretty much left to their own devices. This here group's all about, they go out into the homes, they help them cook, help them clean, help them set up bank accounts and like that, and help them live a fulfilling life that maybe otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to do so. So it's fantastic.
And
Little
Brian,
known is known about
well,
them.
you've done me a favour as well, because I'm for around the corner after the programme.
Good,
to
that'd
get
be
them in
brilliant.
onto the show.
That would be
and
brilliant,
whatever.
yeah.
And we should say you have the full range of sporting activity there in the paper as well.
As always,
And that's always there. Right. I'd like to thank you for coming in, Brian.
No problem, a pleasure as always.
You're a good man.
Thank you.
It's a long time since we first looked at each other across a classroom desk.
Well, it's 20 years, actually, it's 20 years
I taught
this
this man 20 years ago, and very proud of the man you turned out to be. But I always said it of you.
I know you
without
did,
a
yes,
doubt,
yeah.
without a
To my
doubt.
face anyway.
Oh, I did, surely. But that's Brian Hyland, and coming very, very shortly, back with Eve Early. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Ron.